May I please report? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wanted to know if I could draw a picture of a dog, you could examine my education, how I did in art class, whether I have some kind of mental disease, and try to decide whether I could do that based on all that history. Or I could draw a dog it might not be a very good dog, but we know I can draw a dog because I did it. And that's what happened in this case. You know the defendant deliberated because you've seen the evidence. Many times you have to figure that out from a homicide case based on someone shooting someone. You don't have as much evidence. You have not just his statement, but years of evidence of him deliberating. Let's talk about Dr. Franks for a minute. Remember, he diagnosed him with autism spectrum disorder level 2 with intellectual impairment, but said that that was the same as his Asperger's from before, and it was a mild form of autism. And when I asked him, does that diagnosis prevent someone suffering from it from having a state of mind that's the element of offense? What did he tell me? No. I asked him, well, what should you look at to see if they had the state of mind? And what did he tell us? Everything that you could. All of the facts surrounding the case. Would it include statements about what the person said they were thinking before they committed the crime? Yes. And he followed up. That would be the best indication.
I knew there was no coming back. There was two thoughts that came in my mind. One was a benevolent thought, and another one was a malevolent thought. It was almost like having a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other. Basically what happened was I had one thought in my mind out of nowhere appear, and it just appeared. I didn't know. It was almost like, I guess you could call it God, is what everyone likes to call it. Him talking to you, or an angel talking to you, through him maybe. Basically saying, take her and run. That was the benevolent thought. Take her and run. As if it was the kind of feeling that it was basically trying to influence on me, as if I was somehow going to get away with it if I ran away with her. As if somehow we were able to keep her mom at bay better than she was able to in the past when she ran away. However, the other thought came on my mind was because it saw as basically because the darker part of me was also in love with the darker part of her. And because of it, the thought was, excuse my French, but it basically said, this bitch is dead. Not letting her get between me and her, this bitch is dead. Basically is what the thought was. And unfortunately, I ended up listening to my darker side because I wanted to be with her.
He wanted to be with her. That's why he killed Claudine Blanchard. He wanted a sex slave. Remember their whole gypsy talked about it? You can see it in the text. Daddy, master, daddy's girl. You heard her talk about that relationship. How he had her do the humiliating things in a script for him. He would not be the first man who did awful and stupid things to have sex with a woman. That's why he committed this crime, was to have Gypsy Blanchard for himself. And how do you know he knew what he was doing when he was in the interview with the detective? What did he do at the very first part of that interview? He told the lie, right? Remember how they were hiding in the closet, hiding the knife in the closet, getting their stories together? He told the story they came up with. Why is he worried about Gypsy? If you commit a crime with someone and they're in the other room and you've been separated, what are you worried they're doing? Right? Giving it all up. And he's got no idea. Told the story just as they had planned. And then, you'll remember again the story about what they're going to tell their mom and dad. Of course, those stories are going to be slightly different. You have to have a story for them about why Gypsy shows up at your house, right, to live with you. Hopefully you don't get caught. You never have to tell the other story. But if you do get caught, you got to have the story for the closet to tell the police. 26 minutes into the interview, and you'll recall how Dr. Frank said they had no eye contact. If you want to, watch State's Exhibit 149 again. They had plenty of eye contact, normal hand gestures, no odd nonverbal communication. 26 minutes in here, and that's the purpose of coming to Springfield was to kill Dee Dee, to be with Gypsy. Talked about how he stabbed her many times. You have to listen carefully to that part, so it talks about there's more holes, more bleeding. Cut her neck to kill her quickly. Dee Dee yelling for Gypsy didn't stop him going. In fact, he told her, "Stop resisting, you're dead." Thought about raping Dee Dee, but felt bad killing her, so he killed her quickly. He's even deliberating about how to commit the crime as he's committing it. Had a special knock on the door to let Gypsy know it was him. Had warned her, "Don't you come in that room. Don't come near me because I might hurt you." And then he talked about the sex with Gypsy after. You have to listen carefully for it, but he says, "Obviously, I was in charge," which matches what Gypsy told you about how he initially wanted to rape Dee Dee, but instead she bargained with him to allow her to rape him. Was it a rape fantasy they were playing out? It started out that way. What would she also tell you? That during it, she told him to stop, and he did. Dr. Denny, who is very well educated and a smart guy, found errors with Dr. Frank's work. Dr. Frank admitted his own errors to you, though he doesn't even realize it. You might recall that I was asking him about the defendant and the example of someone with level 1. I asked him about a person who's able to speak in full sentences, engages in communication, but his to and fro conversation often fails. His attempts to make friends are odd and typically unsuccessful. He agreed all those things were examples that match the defendant. That's level 1, not level 2. You remember that. So you look at the history. You've got a history of mild autism downgraded to Asperger's syndrome, and then elevated, put back in the autism spectrum. When Asperger's goes away, this becomes part of the spectrum. His present evaluation was either autism level 1 or level 2, but even Dr. Franks told us that was mild. So you got to look at the time of the offense. And what did he tell you? Just like Dr. Franks, right? You got to look at all the facts. The defendant's self-report of what he was thinking. He's told us a lot about what he was thinking. And other objective sources of information. Communication leading up to the offense. Web searches. His communications at the time with her. They want to distance themselves from those text messages. But you just can't do it. And again, all the way back to 14, he was talking about the planning. It was him who was searching for the tape. And yeah, maybe they were mixing their odd relationship with the murder, and maybe the bondage tape would be used 2 ways, but we know he wanted to use it in the murder because he said so. Again, he wanted a machete. She couldn't get a machete, so she got him the best knife she could. He wanted a taser. And you also remember that he'd also read an article about someone had been tased to death. So, the text, they want to say they don't show any deliberation. He's finalizing the plan in his head, thinking about it in the day, this is in the morning, in the day and hours before he goes to kill Dee Dee. Not only that, he was looking forward to it and excited about it. He wanted to make sure that Gypsy, his submissive sex partner, was like she should be when remember he asked her about how she was going to present herself to him after the deed was done. And he knew how he was going to present himself to Dee Dee. You select this for a particular purpose. He didn't just want to kill her. He wanted to terrify her. That takes thought and planning. Yeah, she had gloves in the house because of how Dee Dee mistreated her, right? They had medical gloves. She didn't like go out special and get them. But again, as we've talked about before, and you know, she suggested he didn't need them. It wasn't like so under her power that he put on gloves. It was him who said, no, I'm going to wear them anyway. When you read the instruction and you listen to Mr. Perry's argument, he's, again, putting Dee Dee and Gypsy on trial, but they're not on trial. And it's not a question of, like my dog, was it a good dog or a bad dog? It's not whether it was a good decision or a bad decision. The question is, did he deliberate? Did he coolly reflect? You have over a year's evidence of him doing just that. And again, it's cool reflection upon the matter for any length of time, no matter how brief.
To her room, her mom's room, and so forth. She didn't go in the bathroom. She locked it. And I waited at least a minute and thought about if I really wanted to do it.
Waited a minute and thought about whether I really wanted to do it. And then he did it. You know that he deliberated. You know that he coolly reflected. We ask that you find him guilty of murder in the first degree and armed criminal action. Thank you.
Thank you.